In the world's biggest band, it's so easy for the loudest voice to get all the attention. But what if the most compelling story, the most powerful one, actually belongs to the person who struggled in total silence? We're going to dive into the story of Kim Seok-jin and his incredible journey from being, well, an accidental idol to becoming this absolute pillar of quiet strength. Maybe I can never fly like those petals there. Wow. I mean, that one line from his very first solo song just hits you, doesn't it? It perfectly sums up this deep, internal conflict of a young guy who genuinely believed he was destined to just walk, while everyone around him was soaring into the sky. It's this gut-wrenching confession that really, truly sets the stage for his entire story. So, to really get a handle on Jin's journey, we've got to rewind all the way back to the beginning. Because the thing you have to understand is this was a path he never ever chose for himself. He was, for all intents and purposes, an accidental idol. His original dream, it had absolutely nothing to do with music or dancing. I mean, just think about it. His life was on a totally different track. He came from a pretty well-off family. His dad was a CEO, so he was already set up for this stable career as an actor. He was just a regular university student, completely focused on his acting studies, and then bam, he gets scouted on the street. And here's the kicker, he had zero, and I mean zero, background in singing or dancing.
Can you imagine the whiplash? This created such a huge, stark contrast between the life he knew and the one he was suddenly thrown headfirst into. He was an actor in a rapper's world. A visual trainee dropped into this group of just raw, unbelievable musical and dance talent. So for him, this wasn't some dream come true. No way. It was a complete, totally jarring identity crisis.
And this new reality, it sparked this really deep and honestly for a long, long time, completely overlooked internal struggle. For years, he was quietly battling this feeling of being an imposter. Like he was in a group of prodigies, constantly asking himself, am I even good enough to be here? That's what we're talking about, that crushing weight of just trying to be enough. Just try to imagine that pressure for a second. He's openly confessed to this feeling of inadequacy, this deep, gnawing anxiety that he simply wasn't as talented as the other 6 members. In those early days, he got a lot of criticism for his lack of natural talent, and he carried this heavy, heavy weight of feeling like he was a burden to the whole team. Okay, so his struggle really breaks down into 4 specific and kind of overlapping burdens. And the thing is, he carried all of this in silence, usually hiding it behind that signature sense of humor we all know. We're talking about the huge responsibility of being the oldest, that constant anxiety about his own skills, the fact that his own emotional needs were often completely neglected, and then, using his humor as a shield, like a suit of armor. And here's the crucial part. Because his suffering wasn't something you could see, it was often just ignored. Unlike some of the other members who dealt with really tangible hardships like poverty, Jin's struggle, it was all internal. His pain came from this intense pressure to be the strong one so that nobody else would have to worry. And the result? His own emotional needs were constantly getting dismissed or just plain overlooked. But here's where things get really interesting. While he was suffering in silence in his day-to-day life, his solo music became this one safe space, the one place where he could finally confess how he was really feeling. Seriously, his songs aren't just pop tracks. There's so much more. It's like listening to pages being ripped straight out of a secret diary. Let's take his first solo song, Awake. It's just this heartbreaking acceptance of what he saw as his own limits. He sings about holding 6 flowers in his hands, and that's a beautiful metaphor for the other 6 members, right? He's basically admitting, hey, I might not ever fly as high as you guys. It's his promise to support them from the ground, even if he feels like he can't soar up there with them. And this is what makes his personal evolution so absolutely brilliant. You fast forward a few years from Awake, and you get his song Epiphany, which is a total anthem of self-acceptance. It's this incredibly powerful moment of surrender, but he's not surrendering to his insecurity. No, he's surrendering to the idea that he doesn't have to reach the same heights as everyone else. He just needs to be enough for himself. And that shift right there, from desperately needing other people to say he's good enough to finding that acceptance within himself, that is the crucial turning point in his entire story. You can literally hear it in his music. It's him learning to forgive his own insecurities instead of just constantly trying to fight them. What's even more remarkable about this whole journey of self-acceptance is when you realize the dual role he was playing in the group. Think about it. At the exact same time he was battling his own inner demons, he was also shouldering this completely different, massive burden for the other members. He was their hidden guardian. He made a conscious choice to use his position as the oldest member, not for power or authority, but to take care of the others and protect the team's harmony. Now, in Korean culture, the eldest brother, the Hyung, usually commands a ton of respect. But Jin, he completely flipped that idea on its head. He let the younger members tease him and joke around, all to keep the group humble and break down any kind of stiff, formal hierarchy. And this role as guardian wasn't just about emotional support. Oh no, it was about really practical, selfless actions. We're talking about back in their trainee days when things were tough. He'd use his own allowance to buy food and cook for everyone. He'd be the one to drive the youngest member, Jungkook, to school. He even went to bat for them, fighting with their own agency to make sure the guys got better treatment. So all of this journey of self-acceptance, combined with this quiet service to his members, it all led him to a place where many people now see him as maybe the most healed member of the group. He found his peace, not by totally conquering his demons, but by figuring out how to live alongside them. So how did he do it? Well, he developed this really unique set of coping mechanisms. And they weren't about fighting the insane pressure head-on. They were about deflecting it, protecting his own inner peace. His main tools are actually pretty simple: deflection and simplicity. He uses those famous dad jokes and a sense of humor to create this shield, really. It works for him and it works for the others, especially when things get way too emotionally intense. And honestly, this ability to just compartmentalize and let things go, it's kind of his superpower. He makes an active choice to forget bad memories quickly. It's how he protects his mental health, by simply refusing to let all that pressure eat him alive. He finds his escape in the simple stuff, like gaming, or just focusing on living in the moment. So when you look at Jin's whole story, it leaves us with this really powerful question, doesn't it? What does true strength actually look like when it's hidden behind a smile? I think his journey suggests that maybe, just maybe, the quietest person in the room is the one carrying the heaviest load, and that the greatest strength of all isn't about being the best, it's about finally truly believing that you are enough just for yourself.